So my name is Prakhar, and I'm a first year student for BM at XLRI. And I've done engineering from Thapa Institute of Engineering and Technology in Computer Science. And post that, I have a work ex of 2 years with Deloitte USA and as a business technology analyst. And then I decided to pursue my MBA journey and I sat for CAT and SAT. And I managed to score a percentile of 99.98 in SAT. And I'm currently pursuing my first year in business management. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Devina Mitra, and I'm also first year student in the business management program at XLRI. And I'm a non-engineer, and I've completed my B.Pharm and an integrated MBA in Pharma Tech from NMIS University, Mumbai. So during this course itself, I was sure that I wanted to go into the management field and not in the technical one. So here I am.
Hi, my name is Kanika Mehra, and I'm also a first year student at XLRI Jamshedpur, and I'm pursuing HRM. I did my bachelor's in analytical chemistry from Currimal College, Delhi University, post which I did my master's in environmental sciences, after which I worked for a few years as a scientific officer with International Water Management Institute. After that, I had a bit of a career break. I was preparing for UPSC. And after that, I came here after cracking XAT, and I scored 98.3 percentile, but my VRC score was 99.96, and I happen to be one of the top students today.
Hi, I'm Ashish Choudhary. I'm a part of the first year cohort of Human Resources Management at XLRI Jamshedpur. I'm an electrical engineering fresher from Kalyani Government Engineering College, West Bengal. I appeared for that and my percentile in that was 99.94. I appeared for the B school examinations as well. My percentile in CAT was 99.02, whereas in IIFT was 99.69.
Sorry if I missed my XAT score. It was 99.43 overall and 99.98 in 89 in VRC. I'll just start with how I prepared for my XAT exam. So, we had a month long break between CAT and XAT, and I did not appear for any of the other exams like IIFT, SNAP, etc. I had a goal in mind, but because I had an MBA already. But I would say that, when you have given your CAT, you know a lot about your VRC and your quants already because you have already prepared for it. So I would suggest you really concentrate more on your DM and your GK section. And you also go about with maximizing the number of mocks that you take. I think that should take care of your verbal and your quant section. It would be a quick revision, and DM is something you really need to concentrate on because I was really scared about that particular section with no practice in it for a year, in the year-long process of my prep for CAT. So this is how I primarily went about with my prep.
Okay, adding on to what Devina said regarding the DM section, I would really suggest that you go on through the previous section, previous papers of XLRI ZAT and solve the last 4-5 years of DM section specifically because DM, I believe, is very logical and you need to get the thought process of what the question setter is asking you to follow. And I think once you give the previous year papers, you get the ideology behind like what are the values and what are the ethical values XLRI aims at and how you can fit into those values using the questions which are given in the question paper. And adding to that, like you can post our questions on the live chat and we'll be taking that up.
Yeah, just like Prakhar said, the entire motto of XLRI is for the greater good. So if you go through these questions of that DM section, you'll find that there will be an option that will be, catering to the maximum good that we can do. And hence, if you practice keeping that in mind, all the previous year questions, then it is very doable. And that's a very scoring section. Second, the VRC section can be a little abstract sometimes. Sometimes there can be poetry. So one thing that I would really recommend that I did myself was if you read a good newspaper and if you read a good editorial, especially from papers like Indian Express, The Hindu, or The Mint, first it will give you a little idea about what is happening around in the world, which is going to be useful in the general knowledge section, and that will also build you a little practice of doing a little bit of heavy reading. So do that and practice a lot of previous year RCs as well, and try to incorporate some kind of heavy reading. Like if you can get hold of any philosophical kind of article, try to understand what the crux of an article is. Try to see what is the main argument, what are the evidences. See it from a little analytical point of view. Build that kind of a reading habit, and that is going to help you a lot.
And two more things are there that differentiate that from the other base school exams. One is that the time per question is more in that as compared to CAT and other exams. So here accuracy is more important than speed. And secondly, cross-sectional movement is allowed, and also there's no sequence of sections as per. So you can start with the section you're most comfortable in, and you can switch between sections as and when required. So this thing one must remember before appear for the exam.
The questions in the chat, I see that a lot of you are worried about quants and a lot of you are asking what to do if you're not very confident about it. So as a non-engineer, as I'm from the pharma background, I had lost touch in maths for like 5 years because my course was for 5 long years. So I must say I was not very great at quants. I really liked maths till 10th, 11th, not till 12th. That didn't carry forward till 12th. So I was not confident about my quants either. I did I took mocks, I solved from the books. And the main thing that you need to get right before that is get your concepts, the basics absolutely clear. I feel that quants in that was not very challenging even for me. And the section is a combo of both maths and the, logical reasoning, or the data analysis section, the charts and the graphs and all of that. So for both of them, you basically need your basics very clear. So once you have your basics thorough, I think it's not very difficult for you to clear quants. I didn't find it very challenging, and that is what that's why I'm very confident that if you get your basics clear, you should be able to solve most of the questions. Apart from that, once you have your basics clear, which I'm sure most of you will have by now because you have given many other exams, you can go ahead and solve the previous year questions to get a feel of the level, and also try to get a better approach, a shorter approach. Try to check the accuracy using that approach, right? And then try solving as many different types of questions as you can. And I think that is something that will really help you in the next few days. Till that.
There is somebody asking if UPSC preparation helped me with the GDPI. It sure did. Somebody who has done UPSC prep, they expect a lot from you, that you know what is happening around the world. And the question that threw me, because I was sitting for an HR interview, was what are three important news articles that I came across that were somehow related to the HR world. So it's very important that you do not lose touch with whatever is happening. Read your current affairs and do everything, even while preparing your GDPI. Second, my questions, whatever was thrown at me was more related to the work I did, because that was very different from what otherwise people do and come over here. But yes, if you have done your UPSC prep, then since XLRI is very committed to whatever we give back to the society. So any kind of learnings that you have, especially from ethics section, that is going to help you a lot.
Okay, so another question which I can see a lot is the number of mocks we should give. So I would not answer this with respect to ZAT alone, because the preparation starts early for the CAT as well as ZAT. So I would say in ZAT, the parts like cons, VARC and LRDI are covered. The only part which comes extra in ZAT is GK and the decision making section. So when it comes to the preparation throughout the year, I would say around 20 to 30 marks is an ideal number which we should give at least before the CAT paper itself. And when it comes to ZAT, between that 1 month you can go for additional 5-6 papers of ZAT, last year papers of ZAT. As I said, that will especially help you with DM section. So that would be the ideal number of marks, I would say, and then the more the merrier. Yeah, another question I say is like how much time do you allocate to each section? So like that really depends on you and what are your strong sections. Like as Ashish mentioned, it's a free flow paper. You can shift to different sections between your paper, and it's not like CAT where you have 40 minutes or 1 hour specific to each section. So it really depends on your strong sections, which you can complete faster. Because for me, it was LRDI. So I started with LRDI and I tried to complete the entire, I guess around 21 questions comes in LRDI. So I tried completing it within like 40 minutes range. And then I moved to quants and around 30 questions, 25 to 30 questions come in quants. So I tried to complete them in next 45 minutes. And then the remaining time I spent majority of the time on VAS because that was being an engineer, especially that was a part where I lacked the most. So yeah, that would like, it really depends on your mocks. When you give mocks, you will know which are your weak and strong sections, and accordingly you can allocate time. And other than that, like on the D day, it might happen that one section comes out to be easier than the other section, so even your weaker section might be more scoring. Because the, like for example, if VS is difficult for me, if the paper in VS might be very simple. So it might be more scoring than even my stronger section like LRDI. So I would suggest that in the initial 10 minutes, you just go through the paper and see that what are the type of questions which are being asked, so that you can accordingly plan on the D-Day itself. If you want to change the strategy, you want to spend more time on the scoring section. So that can be done in XAT as it's a free flow paper.
Somebody who's really struggled with quants. I'm not very good with quants, and I see a lot of questions about quants. See, for me, I do not recommend this to everybody, but I honestly played on what my strength was, which was not quants. So I made sure that I pass through quants. I may not score the best of marks in quants, but I should be scoring enough to get past the minimum cutoff marks. And I tried doing that, and I did not even try to do the entire quant syllabus. To be very honest, I focused only on certain sections which were doable for me. Arithmetics, that could be algebra for you. I kind of skipped geometry and all those things because I was really bad at that. And I made sure that I get enough, what the previous year sectional cutoffs were. So I tried doing just that much that was required. And I completely focused on other sections. So if somebody who is like probably struggling with quants, if you have some other strengths, focus on that and make sure that your overall score is good and you pass the sectional with a comfortable margin.
There's a question that because there's negative marking for leftover questions, what should one do to maximize the score? So the negative marks for leftover questions starts after 8 leftover questions. So that's quite a large margin. So one should not focus on guesses, but only answer it when you are sure of it.
Okay, so another question I say is what all papers are applicable with XAT exam. So one is XLRI. Obviously, we have two main courses, BM and HRM. And then apart from XLRI, we have IMT Ghaziabad, XIMB, Zaim, and TAPMI. These are the top colleges you can apply through using XAT exam.
SPJ, right? Even SPJ?
I don't think SPJ is included using XAT as far as I know, but I'm not sure. Like,
so last year SPJ was through CAT, and a few years before that it was through XAT. So whatever it is this year, maybe people can go through that. And there's one more question as to what did you do in your last few weeks before the XAT exam? So we had approximately 5 weeks between CAT and XAT, and during that part of time, I actually read 6 very easy read novels. So you have to take it a little light. I took it a little light because always being into the process and trying to just give mocks and all of that will not always help you. This is what I thought was very good for me. So you need to do something that you like while also continuously preparing. And really, as all of us already suggested, giving mocks and going through the previous year's papers become very critical at this point. With a few weeks in hand, you should always try to play on your strengths. You should just know what your weaknesses are, and you should also know how much of it can you cover up in these weeks. But in that process, do not try to negate your strengths. Always keep that in hand. And even while you're giving mocks, try out different strategies. Try out completing the different, allocating different timings to different sections and seeing what works for you. Does it help you if you go through your strong suit first and then go through the rest and then come back to your strong suit, or you complete the others and go to the stronger one, or complete what you're good at first and then try to allocate the rest of the time to what you're weak at. So you'll have to keep on strategizing, you'll have to keep on improvising. And it might also be the case that in the exam itself, you'll have to change your strategy completely because the exam or the paper wasn't how you expected it to be. So you'll have to be very careful about that. So now you should be thorough with a lot of your concepts. So trying to come up with a strategy is what you should concentrate on more than trying to build up skills at the last moment.
There's a question that can you get into XLRI as without any work experience? There's not much extra you need to do in the interview process. I'm a fresher too. Just if you're a fresher, focus on more on the undergraduate subjects during the interview prep. And also there's no specifically allotted weightage to as per se. So focus on making the exam well and on the interview process. Don't need to focus on whether you are a fresher or a work expert.
Okay, there's another question which is coming to be repeated again and again. It's that can XAT be cleared without quant section? So no, every section in XAT has a basic cutoff section, especially the three sections, XAT, LRDI, and VARC. They have a basic cutoff section percentage, around 85, I guess. And you need to clear that in each section, DM as well, to qualify for the further rounds, just GDPR interviews and all. And regarding the essay writing, the questions have been asked. So essay writing, we were notified around 1 or 2 weeks before the exam that the pattern has been changed and we would be essay writing would be included in the exam. So what we did was you can, first of all, if you're going through the newspapers, and you can also follow some YouTube channels like Study IQ, which will keep you updated with the current knowledge. It will help you with the GK section as well as the essay writing, because you'll have content for the essays. And other thing is what I followed specifically was I searched on Google. You can use Google with main topics for XAT essay writing. So it provides you a list of 50 essays, and out of which you can go through some of the topics like the hot current topics. For example, in our time it was the Russia-Ukraine war. So I went through the passage, one essay based on that, so that I have some basic content. I first of all using those. The one thing is I get content for the essays, and second thing is I get the pattern they're using, how to introduce my topic and how to write the main content of the body and how to conclude it. So yeah, given the essay, we had a very limited time, so I followed the top topics on which the top current, the basic hot topics which are going current affairs. So I read about them and the major topics which have been asked in previous exam papers. So you can basically get an idea about the essays using that.
And we had to type in the essays. We were not provided pen and paper. Also, if you struggle with essays, I'm there is not much that you can do in 1 month now. So try, if you are not good with essays, at least try to read a lot so that you have content, as Prakhar already said. Also, just frame small but tangible, coherent sentences. Do not get into flowery language. Do not get into very complex language. Type very short and sweet sentences, but make sure that you get across your point in a coherent manner. And make sure that you structure your essay in a way that there is a fluent, a flow of thought which is happening, and you conclude it at a certain way.
Okay, so there is this question asked by Divyanshu. The 4 years of work ex, sorry, not Divyanshu. Supratik, and yeah, 4 years of work ex won't hinder your chances of getting into Excel. I have people who have work ex of like around 11, 12 years also who are working here, who are studying here with us. So yeah, 4 years of work ex won't be a challenge for you to get into Excel.
And somebody asked if a gap year of 9 months is going to matter a lot. No, you just have to explain that what you've been doing, and it's not really a problem.
Last minute tips to prepare for GK. Go through the like current topics which are their hot topics which are going. For example, like in our time, as I mentioned, it was the Russia-Ukraine war. Now you can follow maybe like the FIFA World Cup is going. So basic knowledge and basic facts about the FIFA World Cup 2022, and other than that would be follow the as like their YouTube channels. I follow Study IQ, so that they used to release videos like 4 5 videos they release every day. So and they are like really informative videos, so you can use them to brush up on your current affairs.
Okay, so one thing that's different from CAT in VRC is that you have poems in that, and we I think got one or two of them last year. And so with poems, that one thing that I followed was it's not always direct in nature. So there's always something other than what is being said in the poem. That's the essence of the poem. So another strategy that I used was I eliminated options. The options that cannot be were eliminated first. Then I went back to the poem and read it and tried to fit in the other options. And that is how I got my final answer. So you can try doing that with previous year poems. And you could also search for good resources online. I'm sure there must be a few. And you go about understanding how to interpret a poem.
And regarding like what topics you want to focus, that really depends upon you. Like, what are your strong topics? So you cannot just, I cannot just say that focus on geometry or arithmetic as they were my strong topics. And because like one thing you can do for during preparation is practice more on your strong topics, given it's a last minute. So what you can do right now is practice questions from your strong topic, so that if the question from that topic comes, you definitely score in that. And regarding the weak topics, like it really depends. I cannot say that attempt the questions from this topic. So for example, even whatever your strong topic is, it might be the case that in the final exam, only 1 or 2 questions come from that topic and the other questions are from different topic. So like I would say that yeah, like try filtering out the strong topics and then attempt those first. And then after that, you can go on to the other topics according to your convenience.
And I'm seeing question on how to increase your accuracy in DM. First of all, see all the options. Read the problem carefully and see the options. You will be easily able to eliminate 2 3 options amongst them, because make sure that any option that gives you an option which is kind of unethical, that is sure shot not the answer. So you have to eliminate every option that has any hint of unethicality involved in it. Even if you have to compromise business, do that, but do not be unethical about it. Second, once you do that, then see which option I'm able to, give a alternative which is good for everybody, which is not causing harm to any particular, even if there is less profit, but that should be able to see that we are causing maximum good for a. Try to find that kind of an option and go for it. Do the previous year questions and then see if you went wrong, check the answers, and once you realize that what the correct answer is, try to form the rationale that why this option was chosen. Try to understand that rationale and then implement that understanding into other questions as well.
Okay, so one question is, what is the difference between HR and BM? So business BM is basically business management, and you deal with the you deal with the courses which deal with the more business and analytical side of management, like for example, let's say PM, program management, and then marketing, and then analytics. Whereas in HRM, it's human resource management. So you deal with the human resource and how to manage them. And analytics is even using that, as HR analytics is booming, a very booming sector. And regarding placements, in XLRI, HRM is a flagship course, and BM, like in both the courses, the placements are at par. And yeah, like there's no difference in when it comes to placements. You get to both the HR and BM get to sit for all the companies, almost all the companies, with the exceptions of few. So the placement among HR and BM is quite uniform as well. But it's just that in BM HR, there are different processes to get in. There's different cutoffs for both HR and BM. Last year, I guess it was around 95 for BM and around 94, 93 for HR. There's not much difference, on 1 or 2 percentile difference. And you have different interviews for both, and through which they like allocate you the resource programs. Apart from that, from placement perspective, there is not much difference. It's just the roles of placement you get. Like there might be difference in difference of roles you get, but like if you like take it from a financial point of view, it's almost the same.
There's a question, can we leave 8 questions to avoid negative marking? Yeah, the negative marking for leftover questions start after the margin of 8 questions. So yes, you can do that. Yeah, we are on campus.
So there's a question from Chandni, and she's saying that she's scoring very low in quants DI and VRC. So please identify your strengths at the moment and see how many questions come from each section of maths, like arithmetics, algebra, as was already discussed by Kanika. And you should, I think, concentrate on getting your basics clear for the tougher ones. And honestly, I feel that XAT was not tough in terms of quants as much as CAT last year. That is just my personal view. So, and they were straightforward questions too. And DI was calculation heavy. So get a hang of that. Get a hang of using the calculator on your computer, the screen one. That's a bit difficult with the mouse and all. And also try to see how much you can calculate without using a calculator at all. That's faster. So yeah, that should get you through with some questions.
Like for quants, the people are asking for resources. So there's not like one resource. You can maybe go through the like what I did. I had resources of times when it comes to the books. So I went through the previous years. Sorry, I went to the summary of each chapter and the formula, the major formulas which are being used in quants, and I went through the solved examples. And for each in the first 2 months of my preparation, for each chapter, I had solved a few questions. And after that, what you can use is you can buy a test series, or maybe you can like get on last year question papers online. So you can start solving those on question papers. And I would really suggest that you get a test series, because it gives you how you're like it. First of all, it makes you perform regularly, as there will be a weekly test. So you're obliged to give a weekly test at least once, and you get a real-time performance analysis where like all these test series, be it IMS, Cracku, or Time, they give you a complete analysis on how much time you're spending on each questions, and which sections of like for example in quant, in which section of quant you're doing well, whether it's arithmetic or it's geometry, and which section you need to prepare well, then you can maybe go back to your resources and read through them. So I would really suggest that you get a test series and follow that regularly, and it will give you really well insights on your preparation.
Well, how to get motivated after a bad CAT? The thing is, there are many people here whose CAT scores are quite low. I personally have a friend whose CAT percentile was in the early 80s and his percentile in that was 99 plus. So don't focus on that. Treat it at some other exam because the format and the pattern is quite different and the level of questions are asked too are different. So don't think about the past anymore.
Okay, so a question is posted by Mrinal that what is the appropriate candidate um, percentile which is required for a GEM candidate to convert. So last year in XAT, in XLRI, there is no reservation for any such sort. So it's pretty much uniform for everyone. The cutoff remains at last year it was around 95, 96 for BM. So once you score the 95, 96 percentile, you will get an interview call. And then, yeah, there's an entire GDPR process. The first round would be GD, and then the second round would be a personal interview. And once you qualify that, you're here at XLRI. So, yeah, like the cutoff for BM, I can say is 95, around 95-ish. I guess Kanika can elaborate more on the HR cutoff.
Have to check for the cutoff, but you can go to the website and see, and I'll check on this and get back to you soon.
And also the thing is the score versus percentile for different years varies a lot. So you don't know the level of difficulty of this year's paper. So the best approach will be to give your best and leave everything else for the future. The interview shortlist is totally based on the ZAT score. The other parameters are not counted until the last year, so don't need to focus on that.
Yeah, and placements are combined for Delhi, XLRI Delhi and XLRI Jamshedpur.
Yes, the XLRI sets the paper on its own. Yeah, college life is actually amazing. When it comes to college life, like you get a big cultural shock when it comes to college because there's a lot of work, but there's a lot of fun also. So there's a balance of everything. And initially, first month at least can be like pretty challenging as you get used to the MBA life and sleeping less, obviously. So, but then, yeah, like as you're with everyone, you enjoy as well. And the college life, like, is pretty amazing. Like, you make good friends and you make good memories. Yeah.
The cutoff for XLRI, Jamshedpur and Delhi is the same. Even the interview is the same. So, yeah.
Somebody asking how to make a timetable and how to divide time, that really completely depends on what your strengths and weaknesses are. So I did not spend much time in VRC because that happened to be my strength, but I still scored a very good, percentile in that section. I was spending a lot of time in quants and still I could not score that well in quants. So understand your own strengths and weaknesses. Make sure that you are able to do well even in the section that is your weakness, and making sure that your strength does play to your advantage.
Like how many questions should we target in each section? So cutoff for these exams, like for like if you solve 50% of the paper accurately, you score more than 99%, right? So like it really depends on your accuracy, what you're scoring. So if you are completely sure of the questions you have attempted, so 50% of the questions in each section is enough to get you clear the cutoff. But I would say ideally attempt around 60 to 70% of the questions in each section so that they can be a little buffer, and that would be a safe range to play.
Yes, there are quite a few people from engineering background among us too. Yeah, even I'm an engineer.
Sectional cutoff is different for engineers and non-engineers, females and males. So you see where you stand, what was the sectional cutoff last year, and then plan accordingly.
So there's a question from Ishika, and she's asking if there are people from pharma background. I myself am from the pharma background, and so is another classmate of mine. So there's a huge diversity at Excel. There are engineers, there are people from non-engineering backgrounds, commerce, etc. Like it is in most other colleges. So it is something that adds on to the culture at MBA colleges as well. So you have nothing to worry about from whether you're from the engineering or the non-engineering backgrounds.
Varied sets of people, people with absolutely no experience to people having 4 5 years of experience or even more. So there is quite a diverse profile in that sense.
Will there be surprise in the quant section? I believe that the best approach would be to focus on all the given chapters. Don't focus on anything more because of the weightage given to it in the past years. Try to be the best you can in all the sections, and that will be a better approach than trying to predict the given pattern. Yeah, it is wiser to leave questions rather than guessing them.
Yeah, there are people from BSc chemistry, and I'm one of them.
Okay, regarding the campus life, yeah, like as I mentioned, first few weeks would be tough, and you would be getting used to the MBA life, and but then you get many opportunities when in terms of live projects and in terms of projects and like working with professors, and like during the SIPs also there are many like good companies visiting the campus for you to like apply for, and other than that, that like the peer-to-peer learning and the case comms you can participate in. So there are like many abundant opportunities for you to upskill yourself. So that's one thing good about this Premier B School, that you get many opportunities. It's about you. It's on you to like take the full utilization among them.
Asking what was the interview like for a BSc candidate. So for me, since I worked, majority of the conversation revolved around my work. But if you are a if you are a fresher, then just I would say revise whatever you are reading, and then it might also revolve around what hobbies, or and it can go in any direction. So if you mention that you have a favorite book or something, so the conversation might steer towards that. So that really can be anything, and be prepared.
So a lot of questions about our life at Excel. So Prakhar has already mentioned that it's great, it's awesome, but it is also challenging. It's something I think we all should expect from MBA. But it is fun. You'll have people who will help you get through it. You'll have amazing faculty. You'll have friends around who go through the same rigorous events that happen at an MBA college. And overall, it has been a great journey for us. It will be a great for all of you too. And I hope that that clarifies the question on the life at Excel.
Yes, storytelling is a big part of interview. You need to know how to frame your answers and how to coherently tell you about your experience and about your early life and how to tackle the questions in an effective way. And I think, yes, storytelling is a big part of the interviews.
So the 8 questions that you can leave that do not have negative marking, that's for overall, not for every section.
Difference in cutoffs of XLRI, Delhi and Jamshedpur, there's no cutoff difference. Even the interview is the same. Give a couple of mocks, but I'm facing difficulty in allotting time to section. Could you please share a attempted strategy? Well, you have to sort it out from your own mocks, because the sections one is good at is totally subjective. So there's quite a lot of time right now. You can do it, and also you can switch between sections. So that will not be a worry.
Okay, so can you tell us about the extracurricular activities at XLRI? So there are abundant extracurricular activities, like you can take part in number of sports ranging from volleyball to basketball to cricket to football. So there's a sports committee in XLRI, and you can even take a part in that and compete with other colleges. And apart from sports, there are other extracurricular committees when it comes to like public speaking, as well as adventure committees. And apart from extracurricular activities, there are many co-curricular committees as well. Like for example, marketing committee, and then consulting committees, and then finance committees. So apart from academics, you have abundant opportunities when it comes to extracurricular and co-curricular activities as well. No, Kshitiz, XLRI does not have a swimming pool.
Somebody asking how to improve score in VA-RC section. First of all, try to understand where exactly you are losing marks. Are you losing your marks in RC, or are you losing in the grammar section? Then, if you are not attempting the entire mock, then at least do enough practice of the questions where you are not, where your accuracy is not up to the mark. Can like that really depends on where exactly you're losing marks. If you can just tell me more about that. Placements for both HR and BM are at par with each other, and you can see from the placement report, which you can find the placement report on the XLRI website or even at places like inside IIM. And there is not much difference between what's the highest and average placement for the BM batch and the HR batch.
There's a question about not being able to comprehend the RCs that's leading to poor accuracy. So, these texts are mainly technical heavy most of the time. So, you can go through papers or, other resources online that are articles on economics, philosophy, mostly things that you haven't read before because they are hard reads when you read them for the first time, and try and understand those things first, then go through the mocks, the previous year questions on RCs, especially those that you're not able to comprehend, then look at analysis, the answers, and then try to understand what the author is saying or what the examiner wants you to comprehend. You should get a good idea as to how to go about reading it, because reading once has never sufficed for me. What I would do was read the whole RC once, go to the questions, read the questions, get a gist of the questions and the options, then come back to the RCs and read it again. With while keeping in mind the questions that have been asked, so that helped me pinpoint a few terms and a few paragraphs that could help me with answering the questions. So maybe that is how you can go about with RCs at the moment.
RCs and XAT examination can be a little bit of a heavy read. Try reading a few Aeon articles, pick up something on a difficult topic that you might not have read before, something on philosophy, something on economics, and then try to build an understanding. So, and even if you look at the previous year RCs, some of them were very heavy reads. So try getting used to that. Try practicing more of such heavy read articles, and then see how you're faring.
So there's a question on DI. So as far as I remember, our paper, this our 2022 paper, had traditional DI. Mostly there were graphs and there was a candle stick, diagram that talked about the stock prices. So as compared to CAT, I felt that ZAT DI was more on the traditional conventional lines, and it was very calculation heavy for me. So I had to keep a very big chunk of my time at the end to solve these DIs. So again, please go through the previous year's questions and see if you can find a trend, but do not always rely on that. You could get diverse questions this year, and just try to build on anything that you know already and try to solve diverse sums for this section.
And to answer which campus is better, both campuses are very nice, but Jamshedpur is a legacy campus, so it holds its own special value.
Also, the HR cohort is only present in Jamshedpur campus.
Yeah, HR course is only offered in XLRI Jamshedpur, and which is the flagship course.
Any tips on essay preparation? The best tip I would give is in a sentence that read from as many diverse sources as possible. That's the best way to go about it. Is BM flagship or HRM? It's HRM.
Hi, Ishika. So they usually don't grill you on the points you have written on essay in your interviews, but they might ask you at times in certain interviews. I heard that they might ask you what was your thought process behind writing those points in the essay. So when you get the answer key, let's go through the essay what you have written and before the interview, so that at least you have a thought lining process of what your answer was and how you came to that answer when it if they ask you in the interview, but the chances of them asking in the interview is like pretty low.
Asking if a gap year of 1 year will it matter? No, it will. Tell them something about what you were doing. If you can justify it, it's okay.
Just be ready to justify all the career choices you have made throughout your life.
We had to type the essay last year in our test, so I think that would continue. If there's, you should check the official sites for this. If there's any extra information on this.
How to manage that preparation along with bachelor's course? Well, there are many freshers who did that, and even the work people had to work and as well as prepare for GDPI and the SAT. So you need to optimize both while prioritizing that over the last few weeks.
Okay, so there is no separate cutoff for GK or essay section. The percentile for your ZAT would come according to the base on the basis of the four sections, which is maths, LRDI, and then BRC and DM. The GK and essay part won't come into your percentile calculation part. But yeah, you should have some basic cut percentile in GK. There is no hard cut as such. The cut would basically be on your ZAT percentile only. So yeah.
Do they call us to Delhi or Kharagpur? No, the interviewers were online last year.
Last year it was online, but this year it cannot. It can be offline. They will let you know the information post that.
In Kharagpur, the campus is in Jamshedpur.
And yeah, if it's online, they will have centers all across India. They won't call you specifically in Jamshedpur or Delhi.
How to clear sectional of quant? Practice is the best way to go about it, and the questions are quite different from other exams like CAT and IIFT. So focus on the last 5 years. Clearing the cutoff will not be difficult because you can allot more time to it if your VARC and DM is strong. So you can do that. No, we cannot sit in placement while being on study leave. The impact of 1 lakh people giving that this time, I believe the competition will be a bit tough, and that's owing to the fact that the placement reports of this year has been quite high, exponentially high. So yes, the competition will be high. So try to go about it in that manner.
Yeah, it's very much possible to ace that if you have not scored well in CAT. They both are very different papers, and it really depends on the day as well. If you did not score well in CAT, does not mean that you won't score well in ZAT also. There are many people who have messed up their CAT papers, but they ace ZAT and are in XLRI right now. So don't let that demotivate you. And that was something which was in past, and stay motivated for the coming. And you still have time, like you still have around 20, 15, 20 days. So go, like, just clear ahead and go with full motivation. Yeah, you can still ace that and be a part of XLRI.
Are there many non-engineers in the course?
Yeah.
Yes, there are. The diversity here is quite high. People from all the backgrounds are here, so don't need to worry about that.
Is quants tough in XAT? I think it's pretty much similar to CAT, but I would say a notch higher. But that is because you get more time in XAT. You get like the duration with respect to the number of questions in XAT is much greater than compared to CAT. So they might be a little calculation intensive, but when it comes to the level and the logic, they're pretty much same as CAT. So yeah, that's about the quant section in XAT. And when it comes to the syllabus of CAT and XAT related to quants, it's exactly the same.
Does XLRI has compulsory residential program? Yes, it does.
I think with this we can conclude this session today.
So I would like to really wish all of you all the very best for your upcoming exam. Uh, it's a stepping stone, and I think all of you will do well. Try to get your strengths right. Try to build on your strengths. Try to get your basics correct, as I said already. And you know, we've all been through this last year. We know this is difficult. It is tough. And try to keep yourself motivated. Spend time with your loved ones, with your family, parents, friends, and always stay calm, stay optimistic, and I would only suggest that you take it light from now on and don't stress yourself, don't over stress yourself. This is difficult, but it's also something you're working for something that will really help you forward. And I hope that you do well and all the very best. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just add to that don't let. Yeah, go on.
I was just saying that I think Prakhar was also saying that do not let a bad cat ruin your, your preparation, ruin your confidence. Even after a bad cat, you can still do very well in XAT and get into XLRI or any other college that you like. So do not be demotivated. Make sure that you do not stress over it. And yes, and also try to spend time doing other things apart from your preparation. It's very important.
Yes, and I would just like to add that, as I said in the beginning, also you have 15 days. So DM is one section which is different from CAT, so you can use the previous year papers to build on that. And other than that, just be optimistic, as Devina said, and don't study anything for the last 2 or 3 days. Sit back, enjoy, watch movies, and go with a cool head, and you will ace the paper. And all the best.
So I would just say that take it easy, and for any kind of help or tips, you can reach out to anyone of XLRI through LinkedIn. If for the exam or for the GDPR prep, or even after that for the life at Excel, you can do that.